Welcome back to Foothills Firewood, guys. My name's Britt, and today we're headed out to the wood yard. Fall is finally here. All right, y'all, like I mentioned in the intro here, fall has finally seemed to touch down in North Carolina. We're waking up to 55 to 60 degree mornings, and it's getting up in the 70s during the day. Beautiful weather. And I have started, since I got the Versa split, you guys saw that in last week's video, I have started busting down some of these big rounds that I have up front. I am probably going to have about 45 minutes to an hour to do a little filming and to move some stuff around, but I'll stage it so that when I come back, I can finish the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some of those big rounds and bring them over here to the Wolf Ridge. They're still in log form, but not huge logs. I think they're probably 3 feet. I'm going to end up cutting some 16-inch cookies off of them. I'll bust up some of them on the Versa split, and I'll probably put some of them up on the Wolf Ridge hole because you guys know how I do. As you guys can see, this is the remnants of a round that I started breaking down with the Versa split. This is all very large northern red oak, probably about 40 inches or so. And I mean, I stand by this statement when I say there is no better bundle grade than a 40-inch piece of straight grain red oak. This is what it's making. Let's go get it. The more I think about it, the more I thought, let's just grab the crane scale and see what one of these logs weighs. So I'm actually going to take the crane scale over there, and we're going to see if we can hook it up to the log tongs and pick up one of these logs. You guys put your guesses down in the comments as to what one of these things weigh, and I'll show it to you here in a second. We'll let this thing start warming up. As the tractor is back there warming up, I'll take you guys over here and let's see what y'all think these weigh. I don't have a tape measure. I put a tape measure on some of these. Some of them were 40 inches. I think between 38 and 44 inches. I'll probably just, take the low-hanging fruit here on the top. This one is only about, I don't know, I'd say 2.5, 3 feet. We'll see, probably 16 inches here, another 16, 32. Yeah, that's probably 3 feet. This one here is a little longer, maybe 3.5. But I'm gonna grab one of these. What do you guys think these weigh? As you can see, the tongs weigh about 40 pounds. We're gonna zero that out. Let's go grab a log. Let me back up just a little bit here, straighten these tongs up a bit. There we go. That's as good as bite as any. All right, let's back it out and go check the weight on this thing. What do you guys think? Let's see if we can zoom in here where I'm not under the forks. 1175, right at 1,200 pounds. About to make a lot of bundle grade wood, minus that sapwood. All right, next up we got the shorter piece, and it is 938, 32, 37 pounds. Let's get it over there. Last but not least, we're looking at the third log, and it is hanging out right around 1079. So what do we have? 1200, 950, almost 1100. Let's just call it 3,000 pounds of bundle grade red oak, ready to be processed, locked and stocked, baby. Stuff like this I'd normally just mark with my saw and like the perfect stick, or what I call the perfect stick, just a 16-inch marker. But I'm running short on time, and I'm not gonna get my saw out. Stuff's already starting to dry, so it's just peeling off. And the Mingo marker was right here, so that's what we're gonna use. I think that's gonna be 16, 16, 16. That's spot on 48. This one is not gonna be that. That one's about spot on, dead center, maybe just a skosh. I'll have one area that I'll have to saw a small cookie off of, probably. Nah, I'll split the difference. That's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches big, so I'll just do a couple 17-inch splits. I'm gonna put that one right down the middle. This one will definitely have probably a 8-inch cookie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. No day in the wood yard's complete without a quick trip to Costco. All right, we are back in the wood yard, and I'm about to start sawing on some of this stuff. I'm gonna be using the Echo 620p with the 20-inch bar. Bark's just coming off in sheets here. Not a bad sign. want this thing coming back down the hill. All right. Got room for the power head now. Cutting big wood like this, it's nice to just make a nice shallow line all the way down. If you just drop it right on the top and start cutting, you'll think you're dead center. When you get to the bottom will be 2 inches shorter than the top, or vice versa. Got the wolf ridge warming up back there. I don't think I'm gonna get time to split any of these big rounds that I just cut, but I do have some of the red oak that I was working through with the Versa split already on the wolf ridge. So we're gonna let that thing warm up and then we're gonna split a little bit of wood. right, y'all, we are all done for the day. We were able to get those 3 logs that we brought over here this morning all bucked up. Those are here behind me. Didn't get any of them cut today because I did have a fair amount already quartered up from the Versa split. So we went ahead and split that. Of course, you guys watched me splitting that. And a couple things I'll say is, one, I mean, everybody knows I split it a little bit smaller for bundles. I don't think it's quite as small as it looks like it is on camera. And most of mine are 3x3, 1x5, 2x4, stuff like that. So it fits great in a bundle. I'll turn you guys around here and show you what I've got. And another thing to mention, as I was splitting, I was kind of thinking to myself, I wonder if anybody's going to wonder why I'm doing so many single pulls when I could have stacked a couple pieces on and gotten 6 splits out of one send of the ram. And that is because a lot of this stuff is super straight grain, but a lot of it looks straight grain and it's not. It's wavy grain, or it's got knots in it, and it just going through that single way, one clean time calculated around the knot or the curve always will yield a better piece of wood. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about in this one tote, but let me turn you around and show you what I got. So we ended up with a full tote here. You guys can kind of see, and when I go through it, you know, if I think something looks bad, like this piece right here or that punky piece right there, you know, I hand bundle everything obviously over there on the Wolf Ridge bagging station. So if I don't like the looks of something, then I just won't put it in there. But this stuff is straight as an arrow, and you know, oak will start to get this spalt long before it's bad. This is not punky. This is rock hard. You can actually see the top of it right here. There's no, you know, mushrooms or anything growing out of this. It just has that spalt to it. So I want to sell high quality firewood. I definitely want it to look nice, but you know, we're not gonna fret over spilled milk. Let me show you what I'm talking about here with this wavy stuff. You see that piece right there, wavy. Some of this over here, you know, some of this stuff, like you can see how it's shredded up. It's got knots in it. These are things that are just, you see that curvy piece down there. These are things that are just better suited for the single knife, and that's why you saw, you know, an extra 50 pulls. Cutting it only one way instead of running it through the 4-way, or running a bunch of them through a single knife. One last thing that I will say, and maybe it doesn't pertain to you, maybe you don't do big wood, or maybe you have just a skid steer or something, but for anybody who has a tractor, and it doesn't even have to have a front loader on it, although I think the front loader is easier, especially when stacking, I highly recommend a pair of log tongs, a pair of good log tongs. You can get really nice log tongs. I consider the ones that I have to be very nice, and I think I paid like $120 or $130 for them. They're the biggest ones you can get. I mean, 36 to 40 inch claws, and they have no problem picking this stuff up. And the reason I say you don't have to have a front loader is because, you know, most of you guys with tractors have boom poles, and people who don't have front loaders definitely have boom poles. And those people who don't have boom poles can pick up a boom pole on Facebook Marketplace for 75 or 100 bucks. So boom pole with the tongs hanging off the back of it will lift these logs right off the ground, you know, just like a front loader would, of course, just not as high. So can't recommend a set of log tongs enough. You know, 10 months go by and I may never put them on the tractor one time, and then the right log comes by and the right situation presents itself, and I'll use them all weekend, just kind of like I'm doing now. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, the subscribes and shares. And until next time, we're out here having fun. Thanks for watching.